For the 57th year, nearly 600 passionate amateur racers have gathered to select their national champions under a unique format. One race, winner take all. And for the first time in 7 years, their stage is America's National Park of Speed, Road America. Welcome to the Sports Car Club of America Runoffs, our broadcast presented by Mazda. Known by many nicknames, including America's Nürburgring, as much for the beauty of the scenery as the challenge of the racetrack, Road America's the site of the 57th Sports Car Club of America National Runoffs. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Varsha. Lefty has slipped into the co-commentator's chair. Larry McLeod joins me for the race. Hayward Wagner's down in the pit lane. We'll be hearing from him in a moment. Waiting for the field to form up. And, Tom, we are ready for the GT3 class. And I know you've been over there in the paddock, and there's a lot of concern about what's about to unfold.
Yeah, there's been...
Good morning, Bob. Tom. Good morning, Larry. You're joining me on what is the most beautiful pit lane at Road America for GT3. Now, this is the last of proper club tube frame GT racing. GT1 is pro cars. GT2 is a huge mix. But here in GT3, we have proper club racing cars. It's a little bit of a rotary show, but the car for me to watch is sitting in third place. That is Troy Ermish. He's a defending champion at times in GT Light. This is his third ever GT3 race. He starts third today in that 350Z. It'll be fun to watch.
All right, thanks very much, Tom O'Gorman, and my apologies. I'd forgotten we'd switched up pit lane reporters as well as analysts. Back to you, Larry, as we wait for this race to unfold.
Yeah, a little bit crazy as Tom is on the move as he's gone right here from the announce booth all the way to pit lane in about 3 seconds. He's fast whether he's in the car or in the golf cart. So this GT3 field, there's been a very busy week in the pits for these folks. There's been engine swaps up and down. Your pole sitter there, we see him right there. That's Mike Lewis. That car had an engine swap done on Tuesday to it. The car got out there on Wednesday. Still wasn't right. Did another engine swap. And you can see a couple of different class letters on the side of that thing. He's going to be running that in GT3 here. In this race, that same car is also running in GTL, which is a different engine. So before they run that car on Sunday, he'll be putting a different engine in it. And that's just by plan. You go back through the field, I think Jeff Turnell, our defending champion, may also be working on engine. Troy Ermish, who's in the Nissan there in the third spot, he hasn't swapped engines, but he had a ring and pinion going on, so he's working on that, and then he broke an upright. Back further in the field, there's other engine swaps happening, so this has been a mechanically difficult week for these folks. Taz Harvey, another one I think, was swapping an engine, so we're going to see if everybody can breathe a sigh of relief and just get racing.
See the field rolling off, making that distinctive Mazda engine note, but not entirely a Mazda field. Temperature about 60 degrees, rapidly warming around this 4-mile, 14-turn racetrack. Now the field is making its way out onto that track. So let's have a look at the starting grid. On row 1, Michael Lewis from Poway, California, in a Mazda RX-7, next to last year's champion, Jeff DeMille of Roswell, Georgia, also in an RX-7. On row 2, Troy Ermish from Tracy, California, in a Nissan 350Z, and Tony Avi from Maidens, North Carolina, in a Nissan 240SX. On row 3, Taz Harvey of Danville, California, in an RX-7, and Stacy Wilson from Englewood, Tennessee, in a similar car. Row 4, Rob Warnacki, Frankfort, Illinois, in a Mazda RX-7. In the 8th spot, Michael Heinzman from San Jose, California, in a Mazda Miata. On row 5, Paul Young from Commerce Township, Michigan, in the Detroit area, in a Ford Probe, alongside Brian Floyd from Clarion, Pennsylvania, in another Mazda. And on row 6, Ken Nelson from Novi, Michigan, in a Nissan 200SX, and Adam Janasek from New Paltz, New York, in yet another Mazda RX-7. Beautiful day, perfect conditions, I would say. The morning was very cool, very breezy, but the breeze has died down a bit. And as I said, the temperature up around 60 degrees Fahrenheit would suit these racers just fine, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the big story often in this class has been attrition. The last year, you look at last year's front row to start this race was the same pole sitter we have today, Mike Lewis. In fact, this is the third year in a row that he's been on pole. And so he's hoping to finish this race. As last year he had a throttle cable issue late in that race, was unable to finish. Outside last year in the front was Tony Ave. That engine blew up in a dramatic fashion last year. He's in a different car this year. He'll be hoping to get to the finish. So we have a lot of issues with attrition. So a lot of these drivers are hoping just to get through the first couple laps. And we've heard already in a couple of races this morning, this place beats up cars. So a lot of these drivers are hoping to just kind of settle into a long run race.
Michael Lewis has his third straight tire rack pole award. Going to have to build a new shelf just to hold those trophies.
He's got a few trophies on his shelf. We talk about Mike Lewis as he comes in with 9 championships. He's got 3 back in the 1990s in this class. In fact, that car he's running sat in a barn for the better part of about 15 years before 2018 out in Sonoma. He borrowed another GT3 car and rented a ride and ran that thing from pole and then just finished just about 3 inches off the bumper of Colin Jackson in a fantastic race and decided to pull out of the barn his old car here that he used to run in the NASPort series, and he's loving it, really back at it. He's also got 6 championships in GT1. We're going to see him in that famous Jaguar, and we're going to see him later this weekend. So he's definitely got a big shelf full of a lot of trophies.
Yeah, to look there at Stacy Wilson from Tennessee. She was the winner of the Sunoco 260 award on day 1 of qualifying, producing the time that was closest to 260 in the 3 digits to the right of the decimal point. She did a great job. Not that you can aim for such a thing, but she got within 48 1,000ths of a second of what we might call a perfect score. And with it, she picks up 10 free gallons of gas from Sunoco.
Yeah, well, it's a he, but he's
I
one
beg
of
your pardon.
That's all right. He's one of the cores of this GT3 class. He's out there usually muscling engines around between cars, and Stacy, one of the foundations of this. And a lot of the folks here have been running GT3 a long, long time. So great to see that. Get a couple of free gallons of Sunoco fuel.
Bring up the tail of the field, Adam Janosik, who did not go away empty-handed from qualifying, was the winner of the Hawk Breakthrough Award for the biggest improvement from day 1 to day 2 in qualifying. And earlier I mentioned a 15-second improvement for another driver. That was incorrect. It was in fact Adam who picked up 15 seconds from his first to his second qualifying session. Field lines up nicely. Safety car pulls off. We get set for 13 laps of this great racetrack, or 40 minutes, whichever comes first. As GT3 crests the hill, the highest point of this 4-mile racetrack. And they're away, green flag, and a big move up the outside by DeMel.
He got a great run. He really anticipated that, and they were moving pretty quick as they came up for 14. Look at 3 wide though, with Ermish losing out, and already Stacy Wilson going around.
As you can see from those tire tracks on the road, she's not the first. Looks like she will resume on the racetrack shortly. Meanwhile, Jeff Darnell takes the lead over Michael Lewis and Tony Ave. Lewis trying to get back on the outside. That won't work. Down the inside, neat and clean. Larry, would you guess with all the engine changes you talked about that people are going to be a little more gentle with these race cars, hoping to get to the end without a problem?
You would think, yes, and given the history of this class and its attrition, my thought would be just to stay in the mix. You see that front 4, and I'd be happy to be there and just sort of, if I'm Troy Ermish at the 4th in line here in that black and red Nissan, I'd be thinking, go ahead, guys, you just keep fighting and curbing and all that other stuff. I'm going to sit here and watch you and just wait and see what happens. Tony Ave right in the middle of that. Last year he had a front drive Honda that blew up on him. This year, that car he's driving was built about 25 years ago. It used to be the old Wonder Bread car that a lot of folks might remember. He picked that up from Chuck McKinnon earlier this year, and so he doesn't have a lot of seat time in it. He'll be another one, just trying to maybe pace himself a little bit see how this goes, but it is Tony Ave, so I don't know how much he can hold back. As you know, one of the Trans Am drivers, he's known to be a little bit on the aggressive side. He's already right on the back of Darnell. He does not want to let Mike Lewis get away.
Quick look down the inside, and then sliding back into line goes Tony Ave. Try the uphill line. Nope. Tony definitely wants to make a move. He just needs a little more room.
Yeah, I'm seeing already that little blue RX-7, the second gen, pulling a little bit. And none of them want to see this happen, as Lewis is obviously fast. Lewis, he wasn't even here on Tuesday for first day of our 3-day qualifying. Came in on Wednesday, did not get even a full lap in, so he only qualified Thursday. He's fast right off the start.
Another look at the start, 4 wide. You see the jockeying and the defending.
You can see right there with Wilson, and look down on the inside at Troy Ermish. He's lucky to get out of this. May not have been any contact down there, but he certainly went. He made sure there wasn't contact by going 4 in the grass to avoid it, and was able to get back on pavement, keep going. Steve Wilson, unfortunately, he spun then to the inside. But luckily for Ermish, he's able to continue. And right here in this battle right now, for 2, 3, and 4 between Darnell himself and Tony Ave, and they are just trying to not let Mike Lewis get away.
Stacy Wilson was able to regain the track and is back in the running. Meanwhile, Michael Lewis has a 1.1 second lead last time by.
His trap speed, I'm watching the timers roll by here, his trap speed about 8 miles an hour slower than what Darnell just did. And that's part of that is working with the draft with Ermish and Ave. So we're going to keep an eye on that pack. If that pack can work together a little bit, they'll make sure they don't let Lewis get away. She is so aggressive out there. Is he really going to try too wide in the kink?
Looks like it. And they stay on track.
And Mike Lewis is looking at his mirrors going, go ahead, guys, you keep doing this. Oh, that's tension right there.
They've crossed a little paint.
A little bit. And Ave is just right up now on the back of Ermish. Ave's saying, all right, guys, come on. We cannot let Mike Lewis get away here.
All right, let's get organized.
Listening to those rotaries go down this front straight at this place, especially Darnell's, his just has such a fine screaming sound. Where we are in this TV booth, we're way off the street. You can actually hear it echoing still all the way back here. It's just a fantastic noise.
It's always been the signature sound of the Mazda. And not without its problems over the years. They are very loud, and lots of racetracks have noise ordinances.
He actually won this class a couple times in the past. Won here at Road America 2010, 2013. Currently in a battle with the Ford Probe of Paul Young. Those guys battling for 7th, I think.
Where but in SCCA competition would you find a Ford Probe still racing hard?
Yeah.
Which brings up one of the great things about the SCCA and its rule book. It's constantly evolving to take advantage of new developments, older cars or newer cars that become older and become eligible for competition like this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way. They try to keep those old the Pro Series cars, bring it into the amateur ranks. Guys again. Oh, look at the tail side. The big black mark sliding through turn 8 there. Troy Ermish. This is not going to end. These guys are going to keep this up for 10 more laps. It's clearly Ermish is faster around the carousel. Look at this. It's 2 laps in a row.
Literally around the carousel, outside.
Oh, that's amazing. Just look at the way they make speed differently. Now again, what we saw here, he made didn't quite make it all the way like he did this lap, but then they went into Canada side by side. Well, this time he's ahead, but they get to the straightaway, and Darnell looked faster with that, maybe a little bit more power in the RX-7.
Here comes Tony Ave. Nope. Oh, now Avi sees an opportunity. Ooh, that was harsh.
That's definitely trading paint a little bit right there.
Not sure Irma saw him coming up the inside as he tried to recover from going wide around Canada corner.
You would not expect that as you're coming up to 13, that somebody's going to still be on your right side. You would have figured you would have fallen in line, maybe just didn't look out that mirror.
Checking the gaps as they cross start finish once again. Michael Lewis's lead now 2.3 seconds over Ermish. You can see how far back Tony Ave is. Another look.
Yeah, he looks like he was kind of like baited a little bit to go inside, take a bad line, get a bad exit, and then he gets the great exit to Tony Ave. You can see Darnell run wide. He just kind of lost track of him a little bit, and you know, Ave maybe didn't leave him quite enough room either. Ave probably thought that he was a little further ahead than he really was. But, no, well, not a lot of harm, not a lot of foul, but they're still running.
We have to be careful of our cliches after all. Yeah, they come down to 5.
Classic rotary, spitting flames.
Up to the blind, turn 6.
That's what I love about this track is you come out of that Corvette bridge, you just have to trust that apex has got to be there. You just have to know to turn that in. And when you're by yourself, it's almost harder than when you're in the pack. When you're pack, you just sort of cue off with the car in front of you. If you're Tony Ave here, you're by yourself, especially if you're in the position of Lewis, you're just hoping to hit those marks.
We also want to look at the flagman to make sure nobody over that brow is sideways and stationary.
Yep. As we've seen already in a couple of races today, even, as that turn 6 is a little bit treacherous. A lot of folks like to cheat right a little bit under that braking zone, and they drop a tire and they spin, and you can't see them if you're the next car coming up that hill. Echoes down through that canyon. And you can see the folks standing up on the right side here beyond that fence. There's a beautiful path. You can take golf carts and bicycles all the way down that path. It's a great place to watch. You can see some of this fantastic passing down here. Here at the lowest point of the site. It's just gorgeous. This time of year, the leaves falling, and that's the other thing you got to watch is some of these cars that are high-strung like this, sometimes with leaves will get up into the radiators and start overheating the cars late in the race. So you can see a couple right there in the front of Lewis's car. So he may be kind of watching his temp gauge as the race progresses.
Getting a little nervous. We keep hearing about all the great weather that they've had in this part of the country recently, which sounds like the curse. But there's nothing forecast. Hopefully it will be sunny and dry throughout the weekend of this 57th National Championship.
Yeah, I feel like with the weather we had at Sonoma 2 years ago, I feel like somehow that Northern California fall weather just sort of transplanted itself in Wisconsin for a week. I don't know who we paid to bring the weather, but
Avi took a huge bump there as he got off the pavement. Several places around the track, pavement's been added to allow drivers to do what everybody just did there, run wide, maybe put 2 wheels off, but you have to get back in before the pavement ends or there's some kind of large hole that can cause problems.
That was significant, yeah. You know, we were talking about how the curbs are a bit rougher, you know, since the NASCAR crews all came here and they've kind of built them up a little bit, but that was beyond curbs, and that was quite a bit of a jounce there in the back of his car. Hoping that back end is still straight.
Seem to have hurt him.
And again, that car, that's the old Wonder Bread car that ran for years and years. A guy named Larry Hansen, actually not running this year. He ran for a while. He was running under the Nissan. When I talked about it in Sonoma, he's actually here on site. He and Chuck McKinney. Larry Hansen's actual shop class built that car 25 years ago. Larry was one of those guys firmly believed that if you teach to work with your hands and teach kids to build things and you give them something like working on a race car, that they'll go on to be productive. And out at Sonoma, actually had some of his shop class students out there crewing for him. It was just fantastic to see. And that car, this particular Wonder Bread car, still racing, still out there. And Tony Ave out now running this thing. It's just beautiful to see these race cars, old race cars just keep going. They're out there, they're in barns. Just got to keep bringing them out. And this class continues to build. Part of the reason it's continued to build is because 2 years ago, the GT3 Challenge was enacted. Thanks to Max Pappas and Max Pappas Innovations to bring some sponsorship along with some Mazda sponsorship, created this challenge series, which would create taking a series of events. The winners of those regional events would come here to the runoffs, putting together a series of points, and they would determine an overall winner, and there was prize money on the line. And even if you're not driving a Mazda, let's say you've got one of the Nissans, they're still eligible for that prize money. So it helped to encourage that this sort of the entry level of the GT ranks. It's been a great way to help build the class back up again. So we appreciate Max's support in that. And he's been out to a bunch of the events this year too, and hanging out with a lot of the teams. But
He's a great guy, is Max. Brilliant driver.
Absolutely. Kind of waiting for him to see him just, find one of these GT3 cars sitting in a barn somewhere and get a little bit of seat time, come out and just join this race. Why not? Mix it up. He'd have a hard time right now keeping up with Mike Lewis, I'll tell you that. Although Troy Ermish has been chipping away. Well, that's good to see. Stacy Wilson, he's back out after having that first corner, first lap spin.
And he's competitive. He's worked his way up to 9th place.
You see the lap times he's running. He's chasing down Brian Floyd for 8th.
He's going to come around to complete his 6th lap.
There's Brian Floyd right there in that 3rd gen body on that RX-7.
There's Brian Floyd, also completing a lap. We'll take a break and return to the GT3 class at the runoffs. Today's broadcast of the SCCA runoffs is brought to you by Mazda. Feel alive.
When the finish line calls, we answer. Hit the road with insurance protection from Haggerty. Whether you drive a built racer, sports car, or exotic, and save an average of $264. Get a quote today at Haggerty.com.
It's happening more often, and that's not surprising. People are getting lost to find themselves. And discovering the best part is often hidden in the journey along the way. The first ever CX-30. Performance that inspires with available iActive all-wheel drive.
Back at Road America, and we have a battle for the lead. Didn't look like early on in this race it was going to happen as Michael Lewis in that blue RX-7 began to pull away from the field. But as you can see, Troy Ermish in his Nissan 350Z has caught up. He's going to try to get alongside down into turn 1. Can't get it done. They'll go through 2. Tony Avi in the white car right there, hoping something good happens for him. Still can't quite get it done, but this is on.
Ermish could be patient, considering the pace at which he caught up to Lewis there. He was chipping away about a second a lap, and Ave there right as pepper. Maybe that's part of the urgency, is he doesn't want to then have to deal with Ave and Lewis, but Ave is going to get aggressive here as well.
You saw the Nissan squirming a bit on the brakes. Ave's going to try him up the hill to 6.
I think we're going to go side by side through 6 for the 2 Nissans. We are.
Say this for Tony Avi, he is not afraid to stick that car in anywhere.
He is definitely willing to, and he right now has his sights set on the other driver in the field that's got some Trans Am experience, Mike Lewis. So Ave wants to be the one to take him down right now. But Troy Ermish is not going to go very far. We know this is the fastest part of the track for Ermish, so I suspect this is going to be a battle right through the kink on down to Canada for all 3 of these. It could be 3 wide down that straight. No, wiggles from Ermish. Yeah, he's going to be trying to move. He is not being patient at all.
Nope, he's right on him. Just past the halfway mark in this 13-lap race. Avi tucks back in. Oh!
He's going to recover. But he just lost a lot of ground at Ermish.
Once again, the braking. We have seen Ermish's car squirrely on a couple of occasions on the brakes over at turn 5 on the last lap. As Avi just drives right by Michael Lewis, who tries the over-under to retaliate. Avi slides. Used to call that a defensive drift.
But the two of them battling now down the front straight, getting a slow run off of 14. That's going to help Ermish getting that poor run out of Canada. But look at this. We're going to get about 5 more laps of this joy. This is going to be awesome. And keep your eye. You got Darnell back there. I'm not sure why he's faded, but with all this jostling out in front, he may be kind of licking his chops, hoping to get right back up in the mix.
Well, he was Tony Avi's victim earlier, and they had hard contact coming out of Canada corner.
Yep, he's only about 3 seconds behind this, so, and the more this happens, the more side-by-sides. Every time they go side-by-side, you lose probably about 8/10. So all he needs is about 3 more of those, and he'll be right on top of this. We'll have a 4-way battle for the lead again with probably about 3 laps to go.
What a great shot that is. All the beautiful foliage, majestic racetrack, and a great battle.
Oh, it just gives me chills. All of these guys, they're all, you got Lewis, who's won 9 championships.
I was going to say, somehow Avi is down in 3rd as Ermish got by. Must have had a problem somewhere.
Yeah, they may have run a little bit wide at 5 or something. We'll have to go back and see that in a minute if we can. But if not, we see that Ermish now we know he's fast through the carousel. So he may be right on the back of Lewis as they come down through the kink. But Avi will claw his way right back, we know. Look at the slide. We saw Ave, we did see him have that exit of 1 where he dropped that tire, and I wonder if that car is just a little bit squirrely at times. Looks all right there, and that's the spot where you need confidence in your car, is coming through that kink.
Yeah, you saw 3 different lines through it as well.
Oh, there's the braking.
Oh, once again, that problem for Troy Ermish.
He's had so much trouble in the braking with that car.
Car just wants to snap sideways every time he gets on the brakes hard.
And I'm really surprised he keeps trying to push there. He was right up on the back of Lewis there, and considering what we've seen, look at him. He's just right in there and just starts to brake, and the car just starts turning. It's almost like he's got a rear brake issue or something going on. But yeah, it's not happy. Yeah, a lot of rear bias there or something where the car just doesn't want to brake in a straight line. And when you're up under somebody like that, it just doesn't help. So things spread out a little bit, but okay. There, I've been talking about Darnell is licking his chops for all this. He's not out of this. And Ave, he's still hungry. And Lewis, he's just maintaining his pace.
I wonder how much of that Michael Lewis saw in his mirrors as his opponent gets sideways. You don't want to see the number on the door of the guy behind you.
No, you don't. You just kind of put your head down and go, I don't want to feel anything awkward. Let me just get around this before he's into me.
Great fun to watch. Into our last 4 laps now.
Let's just see if Ave can claw a little bit closer. So I do wonder about Lewis's pace.
Saw a car off on the left there. Was that Stacy Wilson?
I don't think so.
White car.
I think it was Adam Janosek, the number 76.
Okay.
Another one of the white RX-7s.
There you go.
All right. Now we'll see if Ave continues to claw with Darnell, just trying to stay with this and make the last lap or 2 run. Look at the sliding, and you can see it there, just as he gets on that curbing coming out of the kink. Ave having to use the fast hands. Ave's driven a lot of things here, obviously in his Trans Am days, winning championships there. Tony Ave actually has run a couple of NASCAR races here at Road America. And now coming back into the GT3 cars here. So he's wheeled a lot of different types of machines around this place.
All up and down the spectrum of power to weight ratios, too.
In fact, we're going to see both of these two drivers right here with Lewis and Ave running in the GT1 class later this weekend. So again, GTs, but very different power bands in both of those cars.
850 plus horsepower. You won't want to miss that.
But this little cat and mouse game is far from over. He's inching a little closer. Gained about 6/10 on that last lap, so he's definitely picking it up. A couple tenths every sector.
Lewis can hang on. It would be his 10th national championship, 10th gold medal. Now, what's going on here?
Oh, this is nice. I wonder if that braking issue is finally just getting to him. Oh, they're cleaning out the radiator. Yeah, we were talking earlier about the leaves and things. You just saw. Look at the pile of leaves there as he leaves, all that grass and stuff. I bet when he came out of Canada and he had, from going sideways, he was on that right side. He just dug right in. Yeah, look at all that grass and stuff in there.
And I'm sure his temperature gauges were pegged.
Yeah.
A little bit of driving angry there,
Tony
too. Tony Ave.
Oh, no. And that's the shortcut after turn 5, I think. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
so
your
that's going
second
to
place
leave.
car.
That's going to leave only Durnell now with a chance to chase down Lewis as the competitors are starting to drop. Attrition setting in.
Well, you said it was a possibility.
Yeah.
A bit of redemption for Durnell, who was kind of rudely treated by Tony Ave early in the race. Nothing intentional.
So we think maybe the Ave car may have suffered a demise. He's just unable to finish on his engine there. Yeah, you can see it let go.
Puff. Yep.
Yep. End of the long straight, a little bit of a lift, and it just goes. Hopefully there's no oil down, but seeing something come out the back. We'll see if that has any effect.
Yeah, hard to tell where it started from that shot. But meanwhile, looking to go into double figures in gold medals is Michael Lewis in his 34th career runoff start.
Hoping to join the ranks of Joe Huffaker and Dave Daughtery with 10 championships. Get up into that double digits. Try to break the tie. He's currently sitting there with Andrew Aquilante, who we saw earlier this morning, and he'll have another shot at this. So it's tough. Getting to that, I mean, getting 1 is tough.
Right.
Getting 10 is unbelievable. But he's still got a couple laps to go, and Jeff Durnell, the defending champ, wants to hang on to that gold medal for a second year in a row. He'll do everything he can. With the heat coming off of the pavement there too, with the sun baking down.
I mentioned earlier we might see the same 3 drivers on the podium as we did last year, but that won't happen now. Tony Ave, last year's silver medalist, is out. Jeff Durnell moves up to the silver medal position. And time's going to become a factor.
Here a little bit further. See who else we've got still running in the orders here with Ave gone. And of course, that pull off for the cleaning out there of Troy Ermish, unfortunately.
The order is Lewis, Durnell, Taz Harvey moves up into the bronze medal position. Paul Young is 4th. Michael Heinzman is now 5th. As Tony Ave continues to slip down the ranks, Troy Ermish will move up into 6th, despite that stop that Larry just mentioned. There has been lots of attrition.
Great run. I mean, for Paul Young in the probe, just consistency. Just keep it running, be just quick enough, and keep rolling along. Good for him. And for Taz Harvey, just had a tough end of the week, in qualifying. Had the motor going yesterday. I believe he put a new motor in that car last night. So if he's able to claw his way up right now sitting in that provisional podium with a couple laps to go. I'm sure he will be just relieved, but he's got to get a couple more times around this long, really long 4-mile Road America track. This place seems to get longer, I think, the further up that order you are as you approach the last couple laps.
Waiting on the white flag is Michael Lewis. He'll get it next time by.
Turnell's just a hair quicker, but not nearly enough. He's going to have to take chunks out as opposed to tenths if he's going to make any kind of a noise on Lewis here in this last lap and 3/4.
3.6 seconds behind is Jeff Turnell. And really, our timing and scoring monitor is something to see, with cars dropping to the bottom, dropping out of the race, changing positions. I really like the look of that second generation RX-7.
Just beautiful cars, and if tuned right, that rotary power plant just screams well. But when they're not running right, it's obvious. I got to stand outside by the carousel yesterday, and the last day of qualifying, watched a couple classes come by, and when they're going around the carousel and they're sort of part throttle and they're not running right, and you can hear the pops and clicks, and it's just not pretty. But when they're on full song, oh, they are a beautiful tone. And these two rotaries up front are definitely pulling strong today. He's still chipping, Turnell. He's still grabbed 8 tenths in the first sector. But Lewis is doing what he needs to do and just hitting his marks at this point.
You mentioned the well-tuned Mazda. Jeff Turnell is from my neck of the woods. He's from Roswell, Georgia. I live in Midtown Atlanta. Just north of where I am is a guy named Jim Downing.
Oh.
Oops.
Is that Turnell?
Is that Turnell? Got a glimpse. Looked like that soul red Mazda
I think
color.
It is. Oh, no.
Oh, jeez. White flag is out. Taz Harvey moves up to second.
And that might put Paul Young in the probe up to third if that's what's going on here. Oh, that's heartbreaking for Turnell.
Oh, my gosh.
There's Ken Nelson in the Nissan, currently running. I think he's in 6th. He'll get up to 5th. I like that little car. I happen to have a little black Nissan 200SX. It looks a little like that, but the powertrain and the drivetrain is a little bit different, but pretty nonetheless.
Definitely sounds different than that rotary.
Just a bit. Yeah, just a bit.
I mentioned Jim Downing, a 3-time Camel Lights champion in prototype sports car competition. Had a splendid career with Mazda.
Something maybe just that long straight coming into Canada, and it just gave up the ghost or something. That's unfortunate.
No smoke, no fluid that we can see.
Yeah, so that should promote then Harvey to 2nd and Paul Young to 3rd, but we're still waiting on Lewis to see. He's got another half a lap. Attrition is definitely a story here.
I wonder if his crew might be telling him exactly that. Through the carousel. The way this race has gone down, pretty much everybody still circulating has their own piece of racetrack.
Yeah, it definitely spread out. Because in the first half of this race, there was that pack of 4 that just couldn't put a piece of paper between. But now it's just a matter of survival at this point.
Someone once said, that's why we run the races.
Something about finishing first finishing,
Right.
some cliche again.
All of those great cliches, absolutely. Michael Lewis's gap, last time measured, Right at 42 seconds from what you mentioned earlier, Larry, with all those cars nose to tail, banging doors. To finish first, you must first finish, and that's exactly what Michael Lewis is going to do. In fact, both of them, as he picks up his 10th national championship in his 34th appearance in these runoffs. Gold medal in GT3 to Michael Lewis.
Taz Harvey there. Bit of relief for him as well, having gone through the struggles of keeping the car running and the motor swap last night to get himself up onto that second step. He's going to be a pretty happy man to be in second spot here.
With a car color like that, I'm sorry we didn't see more of them during the race.
Oh,
I like
beautiful.
that.
It's that green is gorgeous. But the happiest man, I think, is going to end up being this Paul Young, Detroit Region's Paul Young in that Ford Probe. I cannot wait to hear from him.
Silver medal position for Taz Harvey, and here comes the Probe. Paul Young, bronze medalist. As Mike Lewis makes his way around.
And he'll be thrilled, I'm sure. I think this was one of his. He won championships in this class, back in the 90s. Ran NASPORT for many years, but stepped away from this class. I think he wanted to get back in and start mixing it up again. And I know this is definitely on his list. That he needed to get back and win this class. And then looking ahead to Indy next year, there's going to be an even bigger group. Some of the other names are going to be coming back in. He definitely wanted to revive, be a part of this revival. So certainly going to be satisfied, I think, coming into this. This is it's a great win for him.
And the traditional salute from the corner workers.
So as soon as he gets back in and after he does his 14th lap, the crew is going to take this car, pull this engine out, and put in a GT Light engine. So this crew is saying, hey, thanks for finishing all the laps and getting one more on this motor, but we've got work to do here.
Right, get that thing back here.
So Mike, if you could, if we can get that thing in, we got some work to get done.
Well, I got to do another lap with the checkered flag, don't I?
Yeah, but I think they'll let him do it. They'll be a pretty happy crew. I'll tell you what, as happy as the drivers are, I almost have seen probably more elation from the crew when their drivers out there winning, because they work so crazy hard. I actually talked to a couple of his crew guys yesterday, and they were real happy that they were able to get the car running for him after what they had been through on Wednesday with the car taking a half a lap, and he pulled back in to have him be able to put it on pole. So they're going to be absolutely thrilled that he's able to go and to win this race today.
You saw that black 77 Mazda Miata parked just beyond the kink on the run down to Canada Corner. That's Michael Heitzman's Miata out of San Jose, California. I wonder, he will be a classified finisher, but I wonder if he parked it there to save something in case he's entered in another class.
Hoping, I'm kind of glad it wasn't a 14-lap race.
Right.
He looks too relaxed. That arm just sort of hanging out the window. And I've met Mike Lewis once or twice, and he's a very relaxed man. He's very, very cool and calm and collected.
I love that helmets off, please sign. All our helmets are off here in the commentary box, I can assure you.
Well, usually the first-time winners struggle with that. They usually can't get their helmet off. I think Mike's done this a few times. Pretty sure he knows how to get that helmet off nice and calm.
He knows the drill.
This guy may struggle a little bit more, as he'll be pretty excited. Taz Harvey.
Taz Harvey has 2 third-place finishes in runoffs competition. This is his first silver medal. Congratulations to him.
I remember last year at VIR, he was running both GTL and GT3 in different cars, but they were qualifying in the same session. So he would park one on the pit lane, get in the other, run half the session in one, and jump out, jump into the other, and qualify in the second. He was a busy, busy man that day. So a lot of these drivers, because of the similarities of the cars, they tend to back and forth. Not quite like what Mike Lewis is doing and using the same exact car, but they do tend to cross over quite a bit.
Yeah, we don't see guys like Lewis Hamilton do a lot of that sort of thing.
He's a specialist, but I guess we'll give him a pass.
Let's go down to Tom O'Gorman with our winner.
And Michael Lewis, they tried and tried, but they couldn't get you. You brought it home for another gold medal. Congratulations.
Yeah, I tell you, we've been trying to do 10 for a while now, and I'll tell you, none of them have been as satisfying as that one. That was a real battle. I got to take a line from one of my favorite movies and say, "Are you not entertained?" That was a great race by some great racers.
Yeah, and after the week you've had, that must feel extra special for number 10 to come that way.
I'll tell you, the guys work so hard, and it usually comes fairly easy for them, but this week it didn't. And they had to work really hard, and they pulled it out at the last minute yesterday, and I did a lap that even I was proud of. And then today, those guys were after me the whole race, and it was just who made the least mistakes, maybe. Because there were some really good cars and some really quality drivers taking shots at me. Yeah, that white flag took forever. I was wondering why my race was 20 laps.
Well, 20 laps or 10 is congratulations on another gold medal. You get an extra lap out there.
Congratulations indeed to Mike Lewis.
That's great. Yeah. Why was his last lap's a little longer than everybody else's? That's awesome.
So Michael Lewis picks up that 10th gold medal. Taz Harvey, his first silver. Paul Young gets the bronze. Michael Heinzman, Ken Nelson. Oh, poor Jeff Durnell. What a race he had. Same for Tony Avi and for Troy Ermish. You get the idea. Brian Floyd finishes 9th. Adam Janosik 10th. And you could tell by the number of laps each man was down. It was an ordeal. But
yeah,
fun to watch.
Tough to finish, but while it was running, it was fantastic racing.
Mm-hmm. And now Michael Lewis's crew is just going to, well, they're going to go with him on that victory lap, perhaps. Well, let's go back to Tom.
Now, Taz Harvey will alter the phrase to finish first you must finish. To finish second, first you must finish.
Yeah, AJ Foyt wasn't lying on that, was he?
Yes.
So, the race was pretty relatively calm for me. I did have some brake issues I overcame, but I just had a horrifying push through the carousel, and we'd been working on it to try and get rid of it, but I think we went the wrong way. But anyway, I had a great time. I want to thank the Mazda reliability. Of course, that's what got me here. And thank all the Mazda dealers out there. They're trying really hard to make people happy. Thanks, everybody.
Well, it's a Mazda 1-2, and congratulations, Taz Harvey, on 3 medals in a row, 3 years running.
Awesome. Thank you.
We'll go ahead and bring in our third place bronze medalist. This is Paul Young. Now, Paul, all I could see when you pulled in was smiles through the helmet.
Yes,
How does
sir.
this feel?
We had a trying week. Tried some new stuff, didn't work. Went back to the old stuff. It worked. So I had a great race. It was fun, lots of fun. And I'd like to thank all my sponsors. Hoosier Tire, Young Racing, my crew David and Ken. And I especially like to thank the, I'm not going to try and name all the sponsors, but it's the Mazda GT3 Challenge Group. These guys are fantastic to work with. All the sponsors are great to work with. So I'm really glad. I think I may have won the championship. The season championship.
We were speculating the same. Well, Tried and True brought you a bronze medal. Congratulations,
Okay, thank
Paul.
you very much.
4th podium finish for Paul Young at the runoffs. Still looking for that first victory. Congratulations, nonetheless.
Great to see him thanking the GT3 Challenge there as well. It's hard to hear him, but awesome.
Highlights of an eventful race. Off we go off the start. Michael Lewis starting from the tire rack pole, cleanly through turn 1. As you can see, 3-4 wide. Very competitive in the early stages. Keep your eye on the blue and white, number 47. Stacy Wilson goes around. He backs it onto the grass. He would resume, however. Big fight up front. Michael Lewis. Tony Avi in the white car. watching Jeff Dermel.
Pass of the race right here.
Absolutely. Around the outside goes Troy Ermish. And this kind of thing went on all day long. There Dermel gets sideways up the inside. Went Tony Avi, contact, more battling, mostly clean and fair. Some just not so clean. Michael Lewis finally assumed the lead, but had a worry of his own at this moment when Ermish went sideways down in Canada Corner, dealing with brake issues all race long. Then he had to make a pit stop to get all the leaves out of his radiator. It was that kind of a day. But up front, Michael Lewis cruising to his 10th gold medal here at the SCCA National Runoffs. A great drive and a fun race to watch.